Thank you, Jot, and it's a pleasure to be with you. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the loan program because we have Rick here, who's a real expert. But I would like to just give a few thoughts in terms of what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing from a lot of people in the industry. And before we get to specifics on the loan program, first thing, I know there's a lot of anxiety. These are extremely stressful times. Part of that anxiety has to do with having to have laid off hourly restaurant workers. I guess what I would say to you is, at least from a financial standpoint, that should not be a source of anxiety for you. The CARES Act has substantially increased unemployment compensation benefits. I don't know what I'm in Florida. I don't know what unemployment compensation looks like in California. But if you are otherwise eligible for unemployment under state law, you're going to get the state law unemployment benefit you would normally be entitled to, plus an additional $600 a week. I don't think it's a coincidence that $600 a week is 40 hours at $15. So if you're in a place like Florida where we don't have a $15 minimum wage, it's likely that many of our restaurant hourly workers will be making as much, if not more, on unemployment compensation than they would working. And so that at least does not have to be a source of stress for you. That additional $600 a week for those eligible under state law goes through July of 2020. And for those who aren't eligible for unemployment or have exhausted their benefits, they'll have a federally funded benefit of $600 a week, and that will go through the end of the year up to a maximum of 39 weeks. So at least from a financial standpoint, our hourly workers will be taken care of under this bill. The flip side of that is you've really got to double down on your culture and figure out how to show the love to the people who are still working if you're doing takeout and delivery, and keeping them motivated and engaged, because they're going to be hearing from a lot of their friends about how they're making as much or more by not working than they are working. If you've had to lay off people, at some point we're going to have to gear back up. And you really have to figure out a way of trying to stay in communication with those people. They represent a lot of training costs, and try to keep them connected and engaged. So when we do go back to somewhat normal operations, you're not kind of starting from scratch as if it was a new restaurant opening. I think it also bears mentioning that if you have a business interruption policy, I realize that most business interruption policies would not cover this pandemic for a lot of reasons. Some policies specifically exclude viruses or pandemics. Some policies require a physical injury to the property. I think you all know that Thomas Keller has filed a lawsuit saying that the presence of the virus constitutes that physical damage. Talk to your insurance advisor or broker. Even if you maybe you should file a claim now, even if the claim is likely to be denied. There is talk that Phase 4 would include, Phase 4 bill to respond to this would include having insurance companies pay claims under business interruption policies and having the federal government reimburse the insurance companies. So at a minimum, I think you should talk to your insurance broker or advisor. Next thing I'll mention is taxes. You probably have not filed your 2019 taxes, but you probably have filed 2018. This CARES Act includes the QIP fix, if you will, the qualified investment property that we've been trying to get done since the 2017 Tax Act was passed. So for tax years 2018 and forward, you will get 15-year depreciation on real estate instead of 39-year. You'll get accelerated immediate write-off on certain other types of property, which may include interior remodels that you've done. My advice to you is to talk to your tax advisors you may well be able to amend your 2018 tax return to take advantage of these QIP provisions and get a refund for some of the taxes you paid in 2018. There's also a change that allows you now to carry back net operating losses to prior years. If you generate a net operating loss in 2018 because of the QIP change, maybe you can get a 2018 refund and carry some of that back to 2017. There is a similar rule regarding relief for excess business losses that would apply to pass-through entities as opposed to the NOLs, which I believe just apply to corporate entities. There are two provisions in this law that if you don't get a loan, you can have an employee payroll tax retention credit. So if you don't get a loan under the Paycheck Protection Act, you will be able to get some relief from your employer's share of payroll taxes going forward. And you'll also get a deferral if you don't get any of a part of the loan forgiven. So I'm assuming most people here want to talk about the loan, but keep in mind that there are some tax benefits that you will get if you don't take a loan, and you're going to obviously you might want to compare the benefit of which is better, getting the loan, presumably with it getting forgiven, or not taking the employer tax credits instead. I suspect for most people the loan is far more attractive.